when a successful black CEO, Danielle Carter, walks into her own luxury jewelry store. She's denied service by a racist manager who doesn't know she owns the entire brand. What begins as a humiliating moment spirals into a gripping confrontation, from Danielle's calm resistance, the staff's silent complicity, and the manager's arrogant abuse of power, to the explosive reveal of her true identity. Within 7 unforgettable minutes, she fires him on the spot, igniting a worldwide conversation about systemic racism, corporate accountability, and the cost of silence. Each chapter peels back another layer: the breaking point of injustice, the shock of exposure, the aftershocks of public outrage, and finally, Danielle's vow to rebuild her company's culture with justice at its core. A story of betrayal, resilience, and poetic justice. This powerful drama reminds us that sometimes survival means standing tall in the face of humiliation and transforming pain into change. Danielle Carter walked through the revolving glass doors of the Carter & Co. jewelry flagship store. She wore no makeup, just jeans and a plain blouse, no diamond earrings, no designer bag. For once, she wanted to be invisible inside her own empire. The polished marble floor gleamed under the warm lights, chandeliers hanging like frozen rain. Behind the counters, staff whispered, straightening their uniforms. Danielle could feel their eyes. "Can I help you?" A saleswoman's tone was flat, almost impatient. "I'm just browsing," Danielle replied, her voice calm. The woman's eyes darted to Danielle's shoes. Scuffed from city walking, she forced a tight smile. "All right, just try not to touch the glass too much. It smudges easily." Danielle's lips parted slightly. Of course. She moved deeper into the store. Customers in tailored suits and silk dresses glanced at her, then quickly looked away. Behind the counter, the store manager, Mr. Collins, leaned toward a young associate. His whisper wasn't quiet enough. "Keep an eye on her. Don't let her wander too close to the high-end pieces." Danielle heard every word. Her chest tightened, but she kept her expression neutral. She stopped at a display case. Inside sat a delicate platinum bracelet, encrusted with small diamonds, one of her personal favorites, when she had approved the design. "I'd like to see this one," she said softly. The saleswoman hesitated, glancing toward Collins. He strode over, tall, sharp suit, eyes cold as winter glass. "That item," he said loudly, "is very expensive. We don't usually take it out unless the customer is serious." Danielle met his gaze. "I'm serious." Collins folded his arms. "It's worth more than a year's rent for most people. Are you sure you're in the right store?" Her jaw tightened. Around them, the air shifted. A couple browsing rings froze, pretending not to listen. Danielle stayed calm. "Yes," she said, "I'm in the right place." Collins smiled thinly. "Well, then, why don't you look at some of our more affordable selections?" The words dripped like poison. Danielle's heart pounded, but she forced herself to stay still, to let this unfold, because this wasn't just about her anymore. It was about every time someone had been told they didn't belong, and tonight, she was going to watch it all until the very last second. The sparkle of chandeliers overhead seemed dimmer as Danielle moved along the display cases. Every step echoed too loud on the marble, like the store itself wanted her gone. She stopped at a tray of rings, their diamonds glittering under the spotlight. "May I see this one?" Danielle asked, pointing at a simple white gold band with a small cluster of stones. The young associate approached, hesitant. "That's, one of our higher-priced items. Perhaps you'd like to look at something from our silver collection instead." Danielle tilted her head. "I asked to see this one." The associate's cheeks flushed. "Right, but I just thought." Mr. Collins' voice sliced through from behind. "Show her the cubic zirconia section." "No need to waste time." Danielle turned, meeting his gaze. "Why do you assume I'd prefer that?" Collins gave a smile that wasn't a smile at all. "It's about being realistic. We try to match products with what customers usually go for." "Usually," Danielle repeated softly. "Let's not pretend," Collins said, lowering his voice just enough to sound casual. "This isn't exactly the part of town where, well, you know, people walk in sometimes thinking it's window shopping. But this is Carter & Co. Premium." A pause stretched, heavy, uncomfortable. Danielle felt every eye in the room shift toward her. "Maybe, I know exactly where I am," she replied. Collins gave a light laugh, like she had told a joke. "Of course, but trust me, these are serious investments. Not everyone understands that." Danielle's hands curled into fists at her sides, hidden by her sleeves. The young associate fiddled nervously with her gloves. Should I still give her the silver tray? Collins said sharply. Danielle's voice cut in, steady but cold. No. Show me the ring I asked for. The associate looked between them, uncertain. Collins leaned closer to Danielle, his words a whisper dripping with disdain. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Danielle didn't flinch. You're making it harder. For a moment, their eyes locked. His carried a mixture of arrogance and suspicion. Hers burned with a patience, born from years of enduring exactly this. Finally, the associate retrieved the ring from the case, placing it carefully on a velvet pad. Danielle lifted it, studying how the diamonds caught the light. It's beautiful, she said softly. The associate nodded quickly. It's one of our best sellers. Collins crossed his arms. Beautiful, yes, but the price might surprise you. Are you sure you want to hold it? Danielle looked at him, her voice low but sharp. You talk a lot about what I can or can't do. Why is that? Collins shrugged. Experience. Her heart stung at the word. Experience. His experience of deciding, in seconds, who belonged and who didn't. She set the ring back down gently, sliding it toward the associate. Another couple walked in, polished, wealthy-looking, white. Collins' entire demeanor changed. His smile broadened. His voice turned honey-smooth. Welcome to Carter & Co. How can we help you today? Champagne? Sparkling water? Danielle watched the shift, almost comical in its starkness. The couple beamed, thanking him warmly. When they turned away, Danielle whispered to herself, So this is what my name means here. The associate heard, but said nothing. She just stood awkwardly, hands twisting in her gloves. Danielle spoke again, louder this time. Funny, they get champagne. I get suspicion. Collins turned back, feigning surprise. Excuse me, you heard me. A silence stretched. Another shopper nearby coughed, then pretended to browse more intently. Collins' voice dropped. Look, don't take it personal. We have to be careful. You know how it is these days. Danielle stepped closer. No, Mr. Collins. Tell me, how is it these days? His jaw worked, but no words came. Danielle's eyes lingered on him, then drifted across the store. Every polished surface, every glittering jewel, every corner of the empire she had built. And yet, in this moment, she stood as an outsider. The ache in her chest deepened. She remembered her mother's words when she was a child. You'll have to be twice as good, twice as patient, just to stand in the same room. And here she was, standing in the middle of her own store, invisible and unwanted. She whispered under her breath, Not for long. The necklace glimmered inside its case, a cascade of diamonds, woven like frozen light, designed for the boldest clients. Danielle remembered approving it herself, insisting the piece symbolize power. Now, standing here as a nobody, she felt its pull. She lifted a finger toward the glass. I'd like to see that necklace. The associate froze. Glancing immediately at Collins, he strode over, smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. That piece is not for browsing. Danielle tilted her head. I'm not browsing. I asked to see it. Collins gave a short laugh, loud enough for nearby shoppers to hear. You're joking, right? That necklace costs more than most people's houses. Murmurs rippled across the room. Danielle's jaw tightened. I didn't ask about the price, she said. I asked to see it. Collins stepped closer, lowering his voice into something oily. Listen, I don't want to embarrass you. Some items just aren't appropriate. Her eyes sharpened. Appropriate for who? He smiled with mock politeness. For someone serious, someone with credentials. Danielle's patience thinned like cracking glass. She felt the heat of other eyes pressing against her, customers whispering behind their hands. Show me the necklace, she said firmly. Collins shook his head. No, I don't think so. The words landed like a slap. The young associate looked mortified. Sir, maybe Collins cut her off. No, I said no. Danielle's chest rose with a deep, steadying breath. Stay calm. Don't reveal yet. Not yet. But his words dug at old wounds, dragging her backward in time. She was 12 again, standing in a department store with her mother, clutching a purse they hadn't even touched yet. A clerk's voice barked, Put that down before you steal it. The shame had burned so deep that her mother cried silently that night, thinking Danielle didn't hear. She blinked away the memory, staring at Collins. You're humiliating me in front of everyone. Collins' brows rose, feigning innocence. Humiliating. I'm protecting store standards. We can't just let anyone handle merchandise worth 6 figures. Anyone, Danielle repeated, her voice trembling between anger and disbelief. Yes, Anyone who doesn't belong. The silence after his words was deafening. Even the couple sipping champagne turned wide-eyed at the audacity. Danielle's throat ached. She wanted to scream who she was, to slam her ownership papers on the counter. But she forced her fists to unclench, forced her lips into a thin line. Not yet. She let his poison linger in the air. Let everyone taste it. Her voice came low, steady, almost dangerous. You don't know me. Collins smirked. I know enough. Danielle's gaze didn't waver. No, you don't, the associate whispered nervously. Maybe we should just, Collins snapped. I said no. Danielle swallowed the knot in her throat, the weight of years pressing heavy. You've been here before, she told herself. But you're not that little girl anymore. You have power, patience, control. Still, her heart beat against her ribs, each thump a reminder of every door slammed in her face, every boardroom she had to fight to enter, every polite smile hiding contempt. And now, in her own kingdom, she was being told she didn't belong. She steadied herself with one thought. This is the breaking point. Danielle leaned forward slightly, her voice barely above a whisper, but sharp enough to cut glass. Remember this moment, Mr. Collins, every word you're saying. Collins laughed. Oh, I will. Trust me. Her eyes narrowed. So will I. For 7 long seconds, no one moved. No one breathed. The weight of the exchange hung like smoke over the showroom. And though Danielle stayed silent, deep inside she promised herself the reckoning was coming. Danielle checked her phone. The screen read 6:53 p.m. Her thumb hovered over the timer app. She inhaled slowly, then pressed start. 7 minutes, she told herself. 7 minutes to let him reveal himself completely. Collins didn't notice. He was too busy glaring at her as though she were a trespasser instead of a customer. The young associate cleared her throat nervously. Maybe I should know, Collins snapped. She's wasting our time. Danielle's voice was calm, but every word burned. You think time spent with me is wasted. Collins leaned forward, close enough for his cologne to sting her nose. Let me make this clear. We know when someone's here to buy, and when someone's here to pretend, and I don't have patience for the second kind. Danielle's jaw tightened, but she said nothing. The seconds ticked away. 6:54. The associate fidgeted. Sir, she hasn't done anything, hasn't she? Collins' voice rose louder, drawing stares, lingering around expensive cases, asking to hold merchandise she can't possibly afford. That's exactly how thieves operate. Gasps rippled across the showroom. Danielle's chest flared with heat. You're calling me a thief now. I'm calling you suspicious, Collins replied coldly, her throat constricted, but she forced her tone into something sharp, deliberate. Because of the color of my skin. A hush fell so deep the hum of the chandelier lights seemed louder. Collins blinked, then sneered. Don't twist this into something it's not. We protect the store's reputation. Standards matter. Danielle's heart thundered. Standards. The word dripped like poison. How many times had she heard it wielded like a weapon? Standards for speech, standards for appearance, standards that were never written down, but always enforced against people who looked like her. She checked her phone again. 6:56. 2 more minutes. A middle-aged man browsing cufflinks muttered under his breath. Unbelievable. His wife tugged his sleeve, urging silence. Danielle caught the glance of a young black couple near the entrance. The woman's eyes shone with sympathy, her lips pressed tight as if holding back tears. The man shook his head slowly, rage simmering in silence. Collins, oblivious to the storm he was stoking, waved security over. Keep an eye here. We don't want trouble. The guard, tall and stiff, approached cautiously. Is there an issue, sir? Collins gestured toward Danielle. Possible situation. Just stand by. Danielle's fists curled in her pockets. She whispered under her breath. 1 more minute. 6:57. Collins straightened his tie, turning his back on her to greet another couple walking in. Welcome to Carter & Co. Finest selection you'll ever see. His tone dripped with honey, the same voice he denied her. Danielle's phone buzzed. The timer flashed. 7 o'clock. She clicked it off. Enough. Her voice rang out, steady and sharp. Mr. Collins. He turned, irritation flickering. Yes. Danielle stepped forward, eyes locked on his. Your 7 minutes are up. Confusion crossed his face. What? 7 minutes, she repeated, her voice carrying through the room. That's how long I decided to watch you humiliate me. 7 minutes of disrespect, suspicion, and outright lies. And now, she slid her phone into her pocket, her lips curled in the faintest, coldest smile. Now it's my turn. The air in the store shifted, tense and electric. Customers leaned closer. Staff froze. Even the guard hesitated, sensing something was about to explode. Collins frowned, defensive. You don't scare me. You're just another careful. Danielle cut him off. Her tone razor-sharp. He blinked, startled at the steel in her voice. Danielle straightened her shoulders, lifting her chin. Every ounce of control she had held on to was about to be unleashed. And in that moment, she knew his downfall was inevitable. The store had gone silent. Even the tinkling music piped in through hidden speakers seemed to fade into nothing. Danielle stood firm in the center of the showroom, every eye on her. Collins narrowed his gaze, irritation still stronger than caution. What exactly do you mean by your turn? He asked, voice dripping with disdain. Danielle reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. She pressed one button. It means I'm done being patient. Within 90 seconds, the glass doors swung open. A woman in a sharp navy suit strode in, Danielle's personal assistant, Maria, flanked by 2 members of the Carter & Co. executive security detail. Their presence radiated authority, their pace urgent and deliberate. The staff stiffened, unsure of what was happening. Customers murmured. Collins frowned. What is this? Maria walked directly to Danielle, her voice crisp, clear, and loud enough for everyone to hear. Miss Carter, are you all right? Gasps, heads turned. Collins' eyes widened slightly. Ms. Carter. Danielle tucked her phone away, folding her arms with slow precision. Her voice was calm, but it carried through the entire store like a bell. Yes, Mr. Collins, Danielle Carter, owner, CEO, the woman who signs every paycheck in this building. A stunned silence fell so deep it seemed time itself froze. The young associate's hands flew to her mouth. The security guard's shoulders stiffened in shock. Even the couple sipping champagne nearly dropped their glasses. Collins' mouth opened, then closed. You can't be serious. Danielle's gaze didn't waver. Dead serious. She stepped closer, her heels clicking against the marble, each step measured and sharp. For the last 30 minutes, you've insulted me, humiliated me, and accused me of theft. In my own store. Collins swallowed hard, his arrogance faltering. There must be some mistake. You didn't say who you were. I shouldn't have to, Danielle snapped, her voice rising like thunder. No one should have to. Every person who walks through those doors deserves respect, not suspicion, not cruelty. Her words echoed. The staff looked down at their shoes, shame burning across their faces. Danielle turned her eyes briefly to the crowd. All of you witnessed it. The manager of this store showed exactly who he is. And now you'll watch what happens next. Collins stammered. Please, Ms. Carter. Danielle cut him off, her voice like steel. Don't say my name, as if it can save you. You showed me exactly what you think of people like me. You thought I was powerless. You thought I didn't belong. But here I stand, the owner of every diamond in this building, the architect of every chandelier above your head. Her assistant, Maria, stood at her side, chin lifted proudly. Customers whispered, some pulling out phones, recording discreetly. Collins looked around, searching for sympathy, for escape. He found none. Let me explain, he begged. I was just doing my job. Danielle's laugh was cold, humorless. Your job is to serve every customer with dignity, not to humiliate, not to degrade, not to weaponize standards against the people you don't like the look of. His voice cracked. I didn't mean you meant every word, Danielle interrupted sharply, and the world just heard them, too. Phones tilted. The couple near the entrance openly filmed, eyes wide. Collins' face paled. He opened his mouth again, but Danielle raised her hand. Enough. Her eyes pierced him, unflinching. You asked me earlier if I was in the right place. Now I'll ask you, are you? Collins swallowed, his voice barely audible. Ms. Carter, please. Danielle's voice cut like a blade. No, don't beg. Stand in your truth, because tonight, everyone here saw it. The room was so still, it felt holy. Customers shifted, some nodding quietly, others glaring at Collins with disgust. Danielle stepped back, drawing in a slow breath. Inside, her pulse thundered, but her voice was steady, commanding. This store bears my name, and my name will never again be used to shield behavior like this. Collins stood frozen, trembling ever so slightly, his mask of arrogance shattered, and with that, Danielle set the stage for what would come next. The silence stretched, unbearable. Collins' lips trembled as though searching for words to climb out of the hole he'd dug. Miss Carter, please, he stammered. I didn't recognize you. If I had known. Danielle cut him off with a raised hand. That's the problem. You think respect is earned by status, by wealth, by title, but respect is owed to every single person who walks through those doors. Her words rang against the marble walls, sharp as broken glass. Collins tried again, desperation leaking through. I was only protecting the merchandise. You know how it is. We can't be too careful. Danielle's voice dropped, low and cutting. Too careful with who, Mr. Collins? With me. With people who look like me. You didn't protect merchandise. You weaponized suspicion. The young associate whispered softly, almost to herself. She's right. Danielle turned her head, catching it. The associate froze, but Danielle gave her the faintest nod, a silent thank you. Then, she pivoted back to Collins. I built this company on excellence. Yes, but excellence means nothing without dignity. And you, her finger pointed like an executioner's blade, have dragged my name through the dirt in front of every soul here. Collins shook his head violently, voice cracking. No, please, I can change. Danielle's tone hardened. Change. Change comes from truth. And the truth is, you saw me and decided I wasn't worth the diamonds under this roof. You decided I didn't belong. And if you could do that to me, imagine how many others you've humiliated in silence. The customers murmured, some nodding, some glaring at Collins as if seeing him for the first time. Collins' face burned red. It was a mistake. No, Danielle snapped, her voice rising like thunder. It was a choice. Gasps rippled. Her words landed heavy, undeniable. She took a step closer, her voice precise, deliberate. I won't allow my empire to be poisoned by men like you. Men who confuse cruelty with professionalism. Men who hide their bias behind the word standards. Collins' eyes darted toward the phones still recording. He reached a hand out helplessly. Please, Ms. Carter. Don't do this in public. Danielle's eyes flared. Public is where you humiliated me. Public is where you learn what accountability feels like. He froze. His hand dropped to his side. Danielle straightened her spine, every inch the CEO, her voice ringing with authority. Effective immediately. You are terminated. You are no longer an employee of Carter & Co. Gather your things and leave this store. The words landed like a gavel in a courtroom. The young associate gasped quietly. A customer near the back whispered, "Good for her." The couple with champagne exchanged looks of stunned satisfaction. Collins' face crumpled, half fury, half despair. You can't. I just did, Danielle said coldly. He opened his mouth, but no sound came. He looked around the room, searching for sympathy, for rescue. None came. Every eye judged him. Every lens recorded him. Finally, he lowered his gaze, shoulders sagging. You'll regret this, he muttered. Danielle's response was immediate, steady. No, you will. Collins flinched, then stormed toward the door, his footsteps echoing like thunder against the marble floor. The security guard quietly followed, ensuring he left. The glass doors closed behind him. Silence filled the store once more. Danielle let the weight settle. She looked at the staff, their heads bowed. She looked at the customers, still wide-eyed. Then she spoke, voice softer but just as firm. Let this be the last time Carter & Co. forgets what respect means. This company carries my name, and my name will stand for dignity always. Her assistant, Maria, touched her arm gently. Well said, Miss Carter. Danielle exhaled, long and heavy, her heart finally releasing the storm it had carried. The crowd, still silent, seemed to absorb her words like scripture. Some nodded, some simply stood in awe. For Danielle, it wasn't triumph, it wasn't glory, it was necessity, because justice, real justice, had to be seen. By the time Danielle left the store, night had fallen. The city lights glowed against the glass towers, reflections flickering like restless spirits. She climbed into the back seat of her black SUV. Maria slid in beside her, phone buzzing nonstop. It's everywhere already, Maria said, her eyes wide. Customers uploaded videos, Twitter, Chikitoki, Instagram, your name's trending worldwide. Danielle leaned back against the leather, exhaustion pressing into her bones. How fast? Maria tilted the screen toward her. A video showed Collins' final moments, his sneer, her icy command, effective immediately. You are terminated. The caption blazed. Black CEO denied service at her own store. Fires manager on the spot. The view count climbed by the thousands every second. Danielle exhaled slowly. So it begins. By midnight, the storm had grown. News anchors replayed the clip on loop. Hashtags surged. Hashtag Carter Justice. Hashtag Racism Exposed. Hashtag 7 minutes to midnight. On one channel, a commentator said, "It's rare to see racism confronted this directly, this publicly, and with such immediate consequences." Another panel debated, was this humiliation necessary? Couldn't it have been handled privately? But the public wasn't divided. Comments flooded in by the millions. She did what every black customer dreams of doing, demanding respect. Collins isn't the first. He's just the one who got caught. Poetic justice, at its finest. Meanwhile, Collins sat alone in his small apartment. Lights off, curtains drawn. His phone buzzed relentlessly. Missed calls from friends, family, unknown numbers. He finally opened Twitter. His name trended under hashtag racist manager. His face plastered across memes, articles, furious think pieces. His email inbox filled with termination notices. Professional groups expelling him, local business associations distancing themselves. A voicemail from his sister's shaky voice. "What did you do, Richard? I can't even go online without seeing your face. You've ruined us." Collins sank into the couch, head in his hands. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, but the world had moved on. The judgment was public, permanent, unstoppable. Back at Carter & Co. headquarters, Danielle sat in her office, walls of glass reflecting the skyline. She hadn't slept. The adrenaline hadn't left her veins. Maria placed a tablet on her desk. "You should see this." The screen displayed a petition, "Hold Carter & Co. accountable, end discrimination in luxury retail." Already over 250,000 signatures. Danielle's chest tightened. They're right. This isn't just about one man. Maria nodded softly. But firing him, it meant something. People feel seen. Danielle stared out the window. Cars streamed below like veins of light. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "It's not enough." Maria hesitated. "Then what's next?" Danielle turned back, her eyes burning with resolve. "Reform, training, accountability. Every store, every manager. If my name is on the door, my values will be in the walls." Maria smiled faintly. "The world's watching. They'll see you mean it." Online, the video kept spreading. Talk shows replayed it with slow motion, emphasis on the moment. Collins' face fell. Podcasts analyzed Danielle's words like scripture. College students quoted her line, "Respect is owed to every single person." For many, she became a symbol, proof that racism, when exposed, could meet consequences. For others, she became a target of criticism. But Danielle didn't scroll. She didn't watch. She didn't need to. She'd lived it. Instead, she sat in silence, fingers pressed together, heart still heavy, because justice wasn't victory. It was survival. And survival always left scars. That night, as the city hummed beneath her, Danielle whispered into the quiet, "They saw what he did, but tomorrow, they'll see what we build instead." The words lingered, heavy with both burden and hope. For the first time all day, Danielle allowed herself to close her eyes. Sleep didn't come easy, but resolve did. The morning sun bled through the glass towers, scattering gold across Carter & Co.'s flagship headquarters. For the first time since the incident, Danielle arrived not as the wronged woman in a viral video, but as the CEO who had the world's eyes on her. Inside the lobby, journalists waited, cameras flashed as soon as she stepped in. "Ms. Carter, do you feel vindicated? Was public humiliation the right move? What changes are you implementing to address systemic racism within your company?" Danielle raised a hand. "You'll have your answers at noon." By midday, the top-floor conference room was filled with press, cameras, employees, and shareholders. The walls of glass looked out over the city, its reflection framing her like a stage. Danielle stood at the podium. For a moment, she let the silence stretch. When she spoke, her voice was clear. "3 nights ago, I walked into my own store and was denied service because of the color of my skin." That moment, captured on video, revealed not just one man's prejudice, but the cracks within an entire system. Murmurs rippled across the room. She continued, unwavering, "Richard Collins has been terminated, but removing one person does not erase centuries of exclusion or decades of subtle humiliation that Black customers and employees endure every day." A reporter called out, "So what happens now?" Danielle leaned forward. "Reform." She outlined a sweeping plan: mandatory anti-racism training for all employees, anonymous reporting hotlines for customers and staff, quarterly audits on hiring and promotion practices, community partnerships, funding, scholarships for underrepresented groups in fashion and business, Every measure had a timeline, a budget, an accountability structure. This is not charity. This is not a press stunt, Danielle said firmly. This is survival, and survival demands change. The room fell into a reverent hush. In the crowd, Maria watched with tears in her eyes. For all the years she'd known Danielle, she'd never seen her more powerful. A young black employee whispered to a colleague, "For once, I feel like she's fighting for us, not just profits." Cameras clicked furiously, capturing Danielle framed against the skyline. One journalist asked softly, "Do you forgive him?" The question landed like a stone. The room leaned in. Danielle paused, jaw tight. "Forgiveness isn't mine to hand out like candy. It's earned, and it starts with accountability." That's all I have to say on that. Later that evening, when the building emptied and the echoes of applause faded, Danielle stood alone in her office. The skyline glimmered in the glass, merging with her reflection. She traced her fingers against the window, her own eyes staring back at her, tired but unbroken. In the quiet, the memory of Colin's sneer still stung. The way he'd said, "Not for your kind." But in that same glass, she now saw something else, herself, unflinching. For years, she'd fought battles in silence, smiling through boardrooms where she was the only black woman at the table. She'd built an empire brick by brick, dignity by dignity, always holding her head high. But silence hadn't saved her. Exposure had, action had. Maria entered softly, holding 2 glasses of wine. "Thought you could use this." Danielle managed a tired smile. "You always know." They clinked glasses. Maria studied her. "Do you realize what you've done? You didn't just fire a racist manager. You lit a fire. People are calling this a turning point." Danielle let out a breath, half laugh, half sigh. Turning points don't mean the war is won, but maybe it means fewer battles for those who come after. Maria raised her glass again. 2 fewer battles. Danielle tapped hers gently. "To justice, even when it comes 7 minutes late." They drank, silence wrapping around them like a fragile peace. Outside, the city pulsed. Screens in Times Square replayed the clip, not as gossip but as testimony. Schools debated it, corporations cited it, churches prayed over it. Colin's name had faded into infamy. Danielle's had risen into history. Alone once more, Danielle whispered to her reflection, "They tried to erase me in my own house. Instead, I carved my name into the walls." Her reflection seemed to nod back, and for the first time since the incident, Danielle allowed herself a small, genuine smile, not of victory, not of vengeance, but of survival that had finally turned into strength.